You can watch Southampton versus Man City and Man United versus Bournemouth on Now TV for just €10. So what's stopping you? Going shopping again? You're already on first name basis with the sales assistant. A family party? Your Aunt Mary has seen you 4 times this week already. Don't let anything get in your way. To treat yourself to a Now TV Sky Sports Day Pass and watch the games that matter to you for just €10, search Now TV Football today. Content streamed via internet. Full terms at nowtv.com.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to my HeartShift radio podcast. I'm Marcy Newman, your HeartShift coach. I'm an intuitive with a spiritual energy as medicine practice, where I use my own heart-shifting process to help people who struggle with change. Specifically, I help people to find their inner peace, strength, and courage to change by forgiving and letting go of the past. I also help people to recognize beliefs and patterns that are keeping them stuck in their muck, the dense energy preventing them from fully reaching their potential. My intention in bringing you this podcast is to support you in shifting your heart, shifting your thoughts, and of course, to then shift your life in the direction of your happiness. So it is my honor and privilege to do so by providing you with the most effective means of creating those heart shifts through this programming. We'll be talking today about a topic really close to my heart, and I, of course, invite you to bring it close to yours. So today's topic is on the energy of the heart shift. I want to start by introducing you to the science behind the heart shift. I can't help it, it's just the geek in me. Because of my background in science and medicine, I have a tendency to look at and try to understand what's happening on a physiological level and then shift into the spiritual and energetic. I think that's probably why I love heart shifting so much, because it's a great combination of all aspects of our beingness. So it answers a lot of questions for me, and I hope that it'll do the same for you. In the weeks, months, and years ahead, I promise that you'll hear more and more about this as it evolves. But in our last episode, I began to introduce the concept of the heart shift as the recalibration of the magnetic energy of the heart. And I've been wondering how that information has affected you. Perhaps it's a strange concept for you to think about your heart as being a magnet, or that it has energy that projects from it. If so, I hope that this further explanation helps you to conceptualize this phenomenon, as well as to entertain the possibility of this new concept being of great benefit to you. If you already have an understanding of these energetics, it's also my hope that what I have to share will further validate those concepts and perhaps even take you into a deeper understanding, so that you also may be empowered to put it all to good use. So here's some basic science. As I imagine all of you know, the heart organ is a muscle located just to the left of the midline in your body. In a very simplistic explanation, its purpose is to pump oxygenated blood through the bloodstream of the body. It picks up the waste, which is the CO2, as it moves along, and then deposits it in the lungs to be excreted. Then it's reoxygenated, and the heart receives it on its return trip home and pumps it out all over again. Impressive, right? All right, so it gets better, so stay with me. All of this action is regulated by the electrical system of your heart, which produces the mechanisms that cause contraction and relaxation that can be heard and felt as your heartbeat. Now remember that electricity is energy, right? So your heart is made up of tiny cells that send these electrical impulses, some that receive them and cause the contraction and pumping to take place. Although this electrical energy cannot be seen, conventional medicine can measure the efficacy of these mechanisms with a test called the electrocardiogram, and you may be more familiar with it as the EKG. So the spiritual energy medicine that I practice is one that considers the more subtle energy of the body, which also cannot be seen, but also is not as easily measured yet by any machines that serve conventional medicine. However, this study of the subtle energy fields of the body is ancient and really quite well spread, and you may be familiar with how it's addressed with acupuncture or even acupressure. Within this field of study, there is also the recognition of the magnetic field, the energy associated with the resonance of the energy of the chakra system at the core of this particular field of healing. And if you're unfamiliar with the chakra system, please, by all means, Google that, and there is so much information out there. And of course, I will address it as time goes on, because it's really worthwhile knowing about. Anyway, heart shifting is based on my understanding of the mechanisms of this subtle energy system that produces a magnetic effect, and its purpose is to produce a recalibration of the energy of that field so that it's more in alignment with the true energetic nature of love. In other words, its purpose is to raise the vibrational frequency of the individual so that aligns with its own purest energy form possible. So my belief here that all of creation has at its core the energy of love, that is the creative fiber itself found throughout all of creation. This magnetic field becomes the mechanism that draws other energy similar to itself into your field of energy and influences every level of your life, as these subtle energies are connected to subtle energy bodies that are like unseen layers over your physical body. The reason that they're unseen to the human eye is that they're comprised of more light energy, and your physical body is denser, with less light moving through it. So very simply, what heart shifting does is to shift the energy frequencies that are associated with denser, sluggish energies that produce sensations that are life-diminishing, like symptoms of depression, for example, and to shift them to a higher frequency that is more life-enhancing. In other words, to take one from feeling perhaps physical discomfort and unhappiness to feeling vital once again and embracing happiness. So the success of this relies on a multitude of systems that need to be aligned so that everything is working in unison. That, of course, is exactly what is necessary in your physical body as well. So both of these mechanisms work on the same principles. This is similar to connecting with a particular frequency on a radio so that you can tune into your favorite station that broadcasts the genre of music you like to hear. You know, the one that feels good to you as the music flows through your body and mind. So just like those old tuning knobs gave you the possibility, heart shifting does the same. It's also an intentional tuning into the frequencies that produce similar effects, give you a lightness in your steps. You feel the vim and vigor of health and happiness, and you know just what you need in order to maintain it as well. Because when you move out of it, and you no longer are feeling the desire to tap your feet, to sing along, or to dance like no one is watching, you'll want to come right back in to that connected feeling as fast as possible. So just as the radio sometimes produces a distortion due to interference in its ability to connect with a certain frequency, this also happens in the magnetic energy fields of the subtle body. It's that interference that heart shifting addresses. These are caused from the disconnect that we believe is possible from Source, the lifeline that feeds us the very highest form of love in its pure vibrational form. Unfortunately, as we feed that belief, we often feel like we're also disconnected from life, perhaps alone, separate, even abandoned. And this always produces some representation of fear that wreaks havoc in our lives. We forget who we really are and that we have all of these systems already in place, and maybe they're just in need of some fine-tuning to support our happiness, our health, our fulfillment, our prosperity, our joy, our peace, and of course, great big love. So once they're identified by the symptoms of various kinds that are produced, we can address their release and ultimately the transformation of the energy itself. Well, there'll be more science to come, but for now, perhaps just start to take it in. And maybe even begin to notice whenever you start to experience any symptoms of disconnect. Then remind yourself that you already have everything that you need inside to reconnect, should you need it, but in truth, you were never really disconnected at all. It was an illusion, a nightmare, a fantasy, because it just can never be. I invite you to continue to follow this podcast as I share more and more information about how you can live as you're meant to live, happy, healthy, and whole, and able to tune in to the right energy frequencies that will support you in creating it. So thanks for tuning in to HeartShift Radio. Again, I'm Marcy Newman, sending you huge hugs because we all need them, and plenty of heart shifts to keep you real. See you all next time.